Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It On. Let's take a look around camp before we speak to Woljif himself. It's too bad he killed our brethren. We could have all gotten together and sacrificed those crusaders like one big happy family. Okay. So lucky we ran into the Crescent of the Abyss. Where would we be without him? When are we going to meet some demons? Any demons. I haven't sworn allegiance to a method.
I'll go ahead.
We read that already.
I sense something.
I know the way.
Not a bunch of mediocre loot laying around, but it's now my mediocre loot.
Anything new?
Well, this large stone with candles is covered with Baphomet symbols. It seems that the cultists use it for an altar. The tall corpulent man in purple and gold robes is lighting black candles on the altar. A large medallion with a bull's head gleams on his chest. Greetings, brother. Let us forget that ugly altercation. There is room for all pilgrims of the wound in the shade of the labyrinth. What labyrinth are you talking about? The cultist smiles. For one such as ourselves, who revere Baphomet, there's only one labyrinth, that ruled by our master. The Ivory Labyrinth. Untold secrets and treasures lie within it. Do not deny that you too have dreamed of one day going there, of seeing with your own eyes the proud minotaurs and the majestic Glabrezus. Why do you call yourselves pilgrims of the world wound? Because we travel the world wound in search of the path to our Lord. If demons can come to Golarion, it means that we can cross the line between the worlds and bow down before the great Baphomet. But if we're unworthy, I hope that our Lord or his servants will appear before us. Even their wrath would be a sweet reward. Now, why do you worship Baphomet? For the same reasons as you, no doubt. We all know how these crusades will end, with a complete and utter defeat of Golarion. We must hurry to prove to our new overlords that we were on their side from the very beginning. That is why it is so important that we find them. In my previous life, in Mendev, I wrote letters for illiterate peasants and copied out books. Now I'm a high priest, and the peasants in my village are my congregation. Even a humble scribe can move up in the world if he worships Lord Baphomet. And have you worshipped Baphomet for a long time? The cultist looks down in embarrassment, then meets your gaze again with a challenge in his eyes. The time spent finding the path does not matter. What matters is that we found it at last. Is Woljif your leader? The cultist's expression sours instantly. I am the leader here. That young man is our guiding star, our Crescent of the Abyss. Through his demon blood, he is linked to our Lord and will lead us to him. Eventually. At least I hope so. Alright, I don't have any more questions. The cultist looks at you with suspicion. Good. I had an awful lot of them. The man he saw on the altar is now tied up on the ground, his head hanging down. He is young, but his brown hair is prematurely peppered with gray. His expensive but practical clothes are stained and worn. The man's pale cheeks have developed a scraggly beard over his time in captivity. The prisoner looks up at the sound of your footsteps. His eyes reveal nothing but wariness. You're not one of them. Only idiots who are desperate to believe anything they hear would fall for Woljif's lie. Who are you? Deval Gwenviar. The man's voice sounds hollow and detached. Nobleman, crusader, livestock waiting to be slaughtered. How did you end up here? The crusader's eyes stare into the distance. Solely through my own foolishness. Because of my inability to fight like a man. I thought the crusade would be the best way to make my mark in history. I dreamt of the glory, of the respect that would be otherwise denied to me as the third son of a noble family. When an officer laughed at my skills and called me an ignorant interloper, how right he was. Fate has a twisted sense of humor. My more experienced comrades died in this cursed place, one after another, but I survived. There were only 5 of us left in the end. Our hubris was gone. We were jumping at every shadow, and we still weren't cautious enough. I was the only one who survived after we were attacked in the night. I should have realized what was happening when the lookout went missing. Did Woljif order that you be sacrificed? The prisoner looks at you in surprise. Woljif? Oh no. In my better days, I wouldn't have let a tiefling like him set foot in my house. I wouldn't have guessed at the wonders of generosity he was capable of. But fate has led us here, and I'm glad to have him as a companion. I despised him at first, but then I realized he was just as much a prisoner here as myself. In turn, he seemed to develop sympathy for me. At least he always tried to stave off my death, and he entertained me with his tall tales at night. I even grew accustomed to his ghastly street parlance. I should be grateful to Woljif, but... The prisoner shuts his eyes. I'm tired. Death has drawn close so many times, and then retreated again, that now I would welcome it. Even death would be better than the waiting. I want to free you. The prisoner inclines his head courteously. Thank you, but that is impossible while the pilgrims of the world wound are here. They will not just stand by while I escape. I won't disturb you further. The prisoner lowers his head again. Thank you. If you happen to meet my parents or members of the Gwenviar family, tell them that I died in the wound, praising Imade. Woljif is waiting for you next to the altar, warily wiping the sweat from his brow. Phew, I thought I was done for. I could feel at my tail that they were going to kill me. If you ain't a sight for sore eyes, Chief. When I heard that the gargoyles hadn't got you, and that you were running the show up at Dresden now, I can't tell you how happy that made me. But that night it all happened, I'll tell you. I was so scared, I couldn't see straight. I wandered around, wondering if my chief and the rest of the gang were lying in an open field with their eyes pecked out. Woljif sighs. Even my conscience prickled a little, thinking about how I ran. When you look at it from my side, what else was I supposed to do? The actual paladins were getting cut down left, right, and center. When these pilgrims of the world wound tell me that Dresden's been reclaimed, and there's a new commander called Don Quixote, well, I said to myself, there can't be two demon-slaying dynamos with that name. It must be you. So I cut my way through the circles around Dresden, and I waited for you to come out. At one point I got so desperate, I almost went right up to the city walls, but I thought better of it. Although an arrow in the skull would be a sight better than running in fear of... Vodio? Woljif sucks in a breath and keeps talking in a rush, like he's afraid you'll turn around and walk out. Do you know Vodio? I don't either, but I remember the name, because of what Brother Melrune yelled in the basement that time. I'm gonna tell Hapzamira and Vodio, or something like that. Anyway, my shadow told me that Vodio was that demon, and I should be scared of him, because he's after the Moon of the Abyss. But the shadow's a whole other story. But if you want to know why I haven't just come to Dresden, I need your help. It's a matter of life and death, Chief. Well, slow down. You're not making sense. What's going on here? Woljif lets out a breath. Okay, I'll shut up. I mean, I won't shut up, but ask me what you want to know and I'll tell you. What was that? That was my cunning plan, Chief. Woljif's tail's whipping back and forth, so fast it's a blur. Why are you pretending to be a cultist? Woljif raises his hands defensively. Easy there, Chief. I'm no cultist. I didn't just ask you to play along for the fun of it. I had a reason, I swear. It's not because I've seen what you're like in a fight. I know I've got no chance against you. Why did you run the night we fought the gargoyles? Run? Me? I fought him. I did. You should have seen me. I got one right on the nose, sent an arse-over tea kettle, and it flew off. I've gotten into scrapes a fair few times before. Been caught by surprise in the dead of night more times than I can count. That's why I leapt up quick as anything, grabbed my knives, and, well, of course I made a run for it. What else was I going to do? I'm just a thief, a city boy. I don't go toe-to-toe with demons. Sure, I said I'd help you and all, but that was before. I didn't sign up for nighttime gargoyle attacks. What kind of idiot attacks in the middle of the night? I thought war would be keep more civilized hours, to be honest. Wrong again. So apologies, Chief, but I always end up on the winning side. Just my nature. You and your lot, in the camp that night, not have the look of victory about you. It's not like I'd have been much help. The gargoyle snatched me in its claws. Of course I decided to run, and run I did. I mean, he is also, isn't he like a kid? Like, I don't see him being more than maybe... He can't be older than 20. What's your relationship with the Baphomet cultists? Woljif looks pensive. It's complicated. It's a story of unrequited love, really. They love me, and all I think about is how to get away from them and save my own skin. How did you end up with the cultists? Same way I end up anywhere. I was walking and walking, and then here I was. I should mention at this point, My shadow, you know it. Well, it started talking. At first I was so scared, I thought there was something growling behind me. But then I listened closely, and it was my shadow. It only got out a few words, but I heard the name Vodiel, and I learned that he's a demon, that he wants my Moon of the Abyss for some reason. Then I learned which direction he was looking for me in. When I heard that, I turned around and went the other way. I'm not an idiot. Those pilgrims of the World Wound clubbed me around the head, and I woke up, and they were already dragging me to the altar. I said to them, "Brothers, don't drag me to the altar. I have a proposition for you, one you won't want to miss." But they paid no attention and kept dragging me. In the end, I had to show them my party piece. They saw my shadow and dropped to their knees, just like that. I fed them a line about how I can speak directly to Baphomet through it. They lapped it right up. That's why I'm still alive. You said some shadow's been talking to you. Is that right? Not just any shadow. My shadow. My special shadow. After I spent a while running around the world wound, scared out of my wits, it suddenly crept out and whispered in this distant-sounding voice. Vodiel, North. Fear Vodiel. And the name was familiar, because that's what Brother Melrune yelled out, and I put two and two together. This Vodiel was in the north, and I needed to make sure he didn't find me. Bit by bit, I got the shadow to tell me that Vodiel was a demon, that he was looking for the Moon of the Abyss. Who knows why. By the way, I have a couple thoughts of my own about the moon. I'll tell you about them once we're out of this mess. Remind me why I shouldn't just kill all these cultists here and now. Because Woljif looks around and lowers his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. It will still be useful to us, if you decide to help me. Thanks for not trying to kill them as soon as you got here, by the way. Their leader is a nervous sort. He would have definitely stabbed the lad on the altar if you caused a fuss. They think if they perform all these sacrifices, Baphomet's going to appear and hand out powerful spells like candy. And what do you want from me? In a nutshell, Chief, I've got a bit of a situation here. One wrong move and I'm a goner. The demon Vodiel was in the vicinity somewhere. A good man has suffered. The cultists are animals. I just want to get out of this and make Vodiel back off. Without you, I've no chance. Help me. I won't forget it as long as I live. I feel like a lot of these questions are redundant. Who is Vodiel? All I know is that he's the demon that sent Brother Melrune to get the Moon of the Abyss. Now that I have the moon, Vodiel's after me. I'm already tired of running from him. He's going to catch me soon. I can feel it. What part of the cult is playing in your plan? Woljif glances around, making sure you're not overheard. You know why they call themselves the Pilgrims of the World Wound? Because they're itching to meet big-name demons like Baphomet. It's like they're on a pilgrimage. So that got me thinking. Since they listened to me, we can lead them to Vodiel and mess with their heads a bit. Say that Baphomet's been calling him nasty names, and let the cultists fight Vodiel for us. It'll be a riot. Cultists helping us take out a demon. Well, what do you think? Or they just see the first demon. They're saying they would worship at Mephit, like they just want to see any demon. So they're probably going to turn on us if they see that Vodiel. What good man are you talking about? Me, of course. Woljif folds his arms. I'm a prisoner here, you know. And I suppose there's also the other fella, Duval. The one that's tied up. I kind of owe him one. I made a dumb mistake, now he's paying for it. Now don't get me wrong, I couldn't care less about the guy. He got himself into this mess. Except, if it wasn't for me, they maybe wouldn't have caught him in the first place. These pilgrims kept asking me, will we have to wait long for the favors of Lord Baphomet? As though, just because I have my shadow, I should know. What am I, some kind of demon worshipper or whisperer? I just put on a kind of knowing air and say to him, do as you've been doing, and the favors will come. They took that to mean that they needed to keep cutting people up on the altar. I tried to put them off the idea, but they didn't listen. I acted like I was discussing things with my shadow, and I kept trying to hold them off, saying that the stars weren't in alignment, that raining eyeballs was a bad omen. I'd run out of ideas just before you showed up, Chief. I was already considering just letting him do it. He was a crusader after all, you know. Demons would probably get him in the end either way. It's not my fault that's how they do things. It was either him or me. Woljif sighs and turns away, his tail twitching from side to side in agitation. There is one way to get both of us out, but I can't manage it on my own. I need your help. I want to ask you about something else. What else is there to talk about? Alright, alright. Ask your questions. Alright, I'll help you deal with Vodiel. Woljif's face lights up, and the tip of his tail dances through the air. Always knew you were a special sort, Chief. Let's go break his horns off. We need to go to a patch of scrubland by a bend in the river. It's not far. I'll show you. Nothing interesting about the place at all. That's where I was when my shadow came out and started pushing me back the other way. It said that Vodiel would find me easily there, that he'd swoop in and tear me limb from limb as soon as I popped up. I wasn't long turning away from that place, I tell you. There's one other thing. We need to round up my lackeys and send them off on an errand. While they're gone, we can free the prisoner. No point leaving him here to be bored. Be bored stiff, right? Okay. Listen up, brothers, sisters. The shadow has spoken. It says that a demon will come to a secret place, a wasteland where there are almost no trees left, next to a bend in the river. We once passed by there, but we took a wrong turn and didn't find it. Glorious day. Before we set off, I say we make the sacrifice. I say let's hold off on the sacrificing. Time's a wasting. Demons are busy, you know. Leave your things and go. I must meditate before such an event. When I'm all meditated out, I'll come and summon the demon to you. Commander, moment of your time. The young Crusader cautiously gets to his feet, unable to believe that he is finally free. At last the day has come when those odious faces will no longer be looming over me. The cultists hid my weapon and armor somewhere. I'll find them, and then take my leave of this place forever. They're over there with the rest of the stolen stuff. I made sure they didn't go walkies in the night. I hoped you'd make it out of this somehow. Thanks to your efforts, Woljif. Go. Time is of the essence. There's a demon hunting you. Better to lure him into a trap and strike first. What are you planning to do now? Find my armor and weapons, find something to eat, then leave this place as quickly as possible. The Crusader looks ahead with grim determination. Perhaps I'll die in the wound, but I'll die with a sword in my hands, not like an animal at a slaughterhouse. If I do make it out, I shall build a temple in Amade's honor in my hometown. You're rich enough to build a temple if you fancy it. You're complaining that your parents don't give you enough money. I think we have slightly different conceptions of what counts as enough money. In any case, money is no longer a concern of mine. My life and my legacy belong to the goddess who sent you and the commander to my aid. I worship Gorham, so if you want to thank anybody, thank Gorham. Alright then. Farewell, good luck. May Amade keep you. Alright, so we probably need him in our party for this. I need her in my party for the other quest. Well, we're going to do this for now anyway. We'll figure it out from there. Alright, so level 8. What does he get? Another rogue talent? Yeah, sure. I like my perception checks. I like them to pass. Alright, so he gets a feat and danger sense. Is it 3? I improved to weapon fighting. You get a second attack with the offhand weapon, albeit at a -5 penalty. Dispel magic might be okay. Haste is always welcome. Advanced talents. Give him greater invisibility. And stone skin. Alright, mythic feats. Which is abundant casting. I might go with flawless attacks. Or mythic sneak attacker instead, yeah. So your sneak attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 damage. I'm gonna grab him last stand, since he is a melee. And that's a good idea. Still only needs 1 casting of mage armor. Past that, having a couple greases on hand wouldn't be a bad idea. That's a little redundant with Nenio. So maybe we'll do something like that. I guess we'll... Yeah. That'll cover everybody in the party, except for Bismuth. Perfect. So we have 2 castings of that. We don't really need more blurs. Nenio's got us covered there. Well, maybe 2 more for the companions, animal companions. Yeah, that might work.
Together we stand.
The world has suffered enough.
The stone throne that the cultists erected for Woljif does not look very comfortable.
Follow my lead.
I agree. Freedom at last. I don't know what I shall do with it. You could join the crusade. I mean, I am in charge. So, come on. Come on aboard.
That is not far.
Alright, let's get out of here. Go do Woljif's quest. Get it over with, because I really don't want him in my party. He seems okay and all, but also super redundant. All the way up there, huh? Okay, we can do that. Gonna clear out this army while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll get our party up here. I'll probably teleport back to Dresden. To speed things up a bit. Looks like the commander of this unit must have taken part in the attack on Canabris. What else would explain the item in his chest looted from the Tower of Estrad Museum the Crusaders found? An avoidable drill. Whenever the wielder of this +3 keen light pick attacks an enemy with DR, the DR is decreased by 1 until the end of the combat. Okay. Replace the shiny dagger. We'll replace that with the blitz cut item, which is still a silly name for the weapon, but sure. Works for me. Alright, nice little shortcut. Let's get up here. Yeah, I do see Woljif's potential, but I don't care for dual wield classes. Alright, so Pitfall. The bottom of this pit is studded with sharp stakes. Several corpses in cultist robes rot on them. Alright, so we will well, let's get here first. So, Scrubland by a bend in the river. A completely nondescript place that doesn't have its own name, and has never had one. Let's go ahead and rest up before we do anything else.
If you're so afraid of going near the enemy, I could teach you how to shoot from a bow. True, it's pretty tough to aim when you're running away from the battlefield.
Whenever you decide to finally kick the bucket, give me fair warning is all I ask. If I'm gonna be eating cave slime at your wake, I need to line my stomach good and proper first.
That was some good dialogue. Of course, you can't be running away from the enemy. That land's grown on me. He seemed a little, I don't know,
Focus on the goal.
full of himself in the beginning.
Time's not waiting.
We will win this war.
My will is resolute.
Oh, let's get rid of all this junk. 8 cluttered taskbars. Does he have anything up here? Oh, he does have these. But I don't really need those anymore, do I? Heroism was one of my favorite spells. I just haven't learned it yet.
Oh, yes, what?
A little weird using a stone skin without knowing if we're actually going to fight something here. I could be doing all this buffing for nothing.
Don't mind me.
Alright, and then we've... Well, we're actually not done yet.
You are my favorite aid.
Need to... enlarge land. Let's take a peek over here. Igfeli's spawn did not come alone. Giant Glabrezo towers over you. His small yellow eyes, glowing amidst the lumps and horns, come to rest on Woljif. The demon's pincers instinctively close with a bone-grinding snap, and his nostrils flare. The pair of humanoid arms growing out of his chest raise a staff at the ready. Spawn of Igfelis, Lady Hepzamira ordered me to bring her the Moon of the Abyss. Give it to me, and I will kill you quickly. Is he talking to me? He's definitely talking to me. Woljif takes a step back. Hey, Hornhead, I'm the spawn of my Mon Da. I don't even want to think about where you crawled out of. Have at it, Chief. Show me your special chiefly mojo. Who are you? Know the name of the one who will squeeze your innards. A Vodiel, Gorger of Screams. Hepzamira's Scourging Lash, and Baphomet's Faithful. You will die begging for mercy. Begging me for mercy. Who is Igfelis? A demon who sowed his seed on Galarian. From his seed grew the coward currently hiding behind you. He will die more slowly and painfully than you. Retribution for everything Igfelis has done to vex my mistress. Who is Hepzamira? My mistress is the high priestess of Lord Baphomet. I will fulfill her command, and she will honor me with her blessing. Why are you so determined to kill Woljif? Why do you need the Moon of the Abyss? Yeah, why? I ain't never seen you before in my life. Maybe you got me confused with somebody else. Another Woljif, maybe. Or a guy with horns like mine. You are Igfeli's spawn. That is reason enough to kill you. But my mistress also needs the item you stole. The Moon of the Abyss. No more talking. Die, traitorous seed. Woljif is wreathed in blue flames. The demon shadow rises up behind him. Have at it, Chief. Ogres of the World Wound, attack. Fight for me. I'll be over there monitoring your performance. The cultists exchange looks and make no move to fight. At last the chief cultist speaks. We will not fight against a demon. Demons are our future masters. We cannot show insubordination. What has gotten into you, Crescent of the Abyss? You're not trying to betray us, are you? Demons kill demons all the time. It's part of their nature. They're chaotic evil. Woljif slaps a hand to his forehead. I forgot. They're not just dumb as planks. They're stubborn as mules too. Quick, Chief. Say something to him. He'll be more persuasive than me. I have a ton of diplomacy. If this demon is trying to deceive you, a servant of Baphomet wouldn't murder the Crescent of the Abyss. The chief cultist strokes his chin. The Crescent of the Abyss kept his word. He let us hear as he promised. Nevertheless, the demon wants him dead. Yes, something isn't adding up here. Time for vengeance has come.
We are the light. They are the darkness.
Oh, it didn't work. Okay, well, we'll take them out first.
Guide my blade.
You know what? I have an idea. Might not be a good idea, but I've got one. Alright, guys. Keep pushing forward here. Let's see. Blind him. Finish casting that for me, please.
Wrong mongrel.
Come on, Mastodon. Challenge evil. You guys keep pushing right here.
You won't survive me.
See, dispel magic this guy.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
Let's see how much damage my main character does.
Distract them for me.
The light take you.
Not as much as I was hoping. That's fine. It's almost over anyway. I'll find you, spawn of Igfeles. You'll be bathed in blood. Woljif looks supremely satisfied. What do you make that Vodial then, Chief? Woo. So, will you take me back? There's nothing for me to do on my own in the World Wound. And we do kind of make a good team. I promise not to run away again. As long as we don't get attacked by gargoyles again. If they do, sorry, Chief. But they're scary. I'm out of there. Tiefling laughs. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I really won't run away again. Really. Don't get ahead of yourself. First, I deserve to know what your connection is to the demons. I don't know anything about any demons. That's the first time I ever saw that Vodial beast. But he sure seemed to have it in for me. He doesn't just want the moon of the abyss. He wants me to suffer. And that mistress of his, Hipsa, whatever she's called. There's something fishy going on here, Chief. I'm telling you. I want to get to the bottom of it, because something tells me we'll be seeing Vodial again. I know his type. Once they get a hold of you, they don't let go. Woljif runs a hand through his shock of hair. Here's how it is. There's this demon Igfeles, the one that Vodial and his mistress are so worked up over. If I'm supposed to be his spawn, then maybe he's my grandpa. I believe it. He's caused so much trouble that people even want to bump off his grandkids. Yep, that sounds like my family alright. Igfeles did something to Hebs, to Vodial's boss. Maybe he stole the moon from her. I don't know. Anyway, she sent her top muscle to find it. The muscle being Vodial. And I'm the poor sap who's supposed to pay for all of Granddaddy's evil deeds. See, demons are just the same as low-class thugs, when you get down to it. But I ain't giving them the moon. Even the shadows started talking to me because of it. And then there's... Woljif stops short. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. That's a separate discussion. You can stay if you promise not to run off again. I swear my ma and da. To be fair, I'm not sure if they're alive or dead. But even dead people can have a lot happen to them. They can be raised from the dead, or just dug up to be used in experiments. I knew one old-timer, a street food vendor, who would buy fresh corpses. He was looking into something, almost as if... Anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is this. I need to talk to you. I don't have anybody else. Face to face, somewhere private. In Dresden, that'll do. When you see me standing alone, come talk to me. Woljif notices Duval and waves to him. Chief, you remember Duval, right? First he was lying on the altar, then he was tied up on the floor. He's led a varied life, is what I'm saying. I want to say hello? He's basically one of us. He won't look down his nose at us. And he's rich to boot. Maybe you can shake something out of him, you know, for helping him. Even an IOU would be better than nothing. Why not? Duval, noticeably fatigued after the battle, walks over to you and Woljif. It was a fine fight. It was tough for me, but it's the first time in a long while that I felt human again, and not a mute animal. Thank you. That was you, Mute? You're an even bigger talker than me, Your Excellency. Only you sound like a library book, and I sound like a back alley gutter. I learned my letters on the streets, you know, from the signs. Anyway, that's by the by. I wasn't planning on saving you. I just didn't want you to pop up in my dreams, looking all pathetic and asking, why Woljif? Why didn't you save me? Nah, I don't need that kind of hassle in my life. Duval laughs. I'm sure nothing can break your irrepressible spirit. Young Crusader bows to you. Commander, I don't know how to thank you for saving me. Amade must truly be watching over me, and I must do everything in my power to repay her. What are you planning to do now? Get out of this place and return to the ranks of the Crusaders. Don't worry about me. Even if I should die on the way back, I'll die a warrior's death. If this crusade has taught me anything, it's the value of an honorable death, a death worthy of a man. Time to go. For scavengers will swarm here before we decide it's worth burying the bodies. Duval turns to Woljif. Thanks again, my friend. If you ever find yourself on Gwenviar land in eastern Mendev, I could ask my parents to find you a position suited to your talents. The Gwenviars are always in need of good, reliable men. Woljif, who'd been listening with a smile up to now, abruptly stopped smiling. Good men. I'm not a man, your excellency. I won't be your servant neither. You think you're doing me a good turn. You posh people are all alike. Even if I saved your skin a dozen times, you'd never see me as your equal. You can take your gratitude and shove it, and don't call me friend. That's a really harsh, lawful option. I know that's lawful even without the thingies turned on. You're right, Woljif. A servant can become a friend, but a friend cannot become a servant. Woljif barks at a contemptuous laugh, but the disappointment is clear as day on his face. You sing a different tune when you're stuck in a cage, looking for sympathy like a lost lamb. Huh, that's blue bloods for you. So I think I shifted to the lawful good at some point. You can't survive on thanks alone. Devon looks slightly disappointed. Unfortunately, I don't have any money on me. I only managed to find my belongings with difficulty. Please accept this enchanted ring as a sign of my gratitude. I found it in the pile of weapons back at the cultist camp. But I shall remain in your debt. You arrived too late. The cultists already agreed to fight for me. Duval furrows his brows. Sorry, with all due respect, that is wrong. We're supposed to be fighting evil, not taking on cultists as allies. I'm sorry you wasted time convincing them, but I acted as it best pleases Amade. That's fair. Now let's go. We shouldn't linger here. Duval salutes you. May Amade watch over you, Commander. I shall pray for you. Alright, let's go, Chief. On to new adventures. I'm sick of this place, to tell the truth. It's empty, it's boring. We might as well talk on the road instead of hanging around here. Do you know any traveling songs? I'm going to teach you some tavern tunes. The one where the thief falls in love with the beautiful woman. She turns out to be a guard, and the two of them get hacked up on the street. Or how about the one where the thief's in court, and the judge is his father? Or that one about how if you don't behave yourself, that you'll live out your days in a special institution. I remember them all. We've got plenty of time. Actually, we don't, because we're going to teleport back. But first, this is a Ring of Protection +2. It grants the wearer +3 competence bonus on touch attack rolls. That'd be good for Ember for a raid build. Got a demonic shadow. Let's see what this is about too. Whenever the wearer of this belt casts a spell of level 6 or higher, it summons a CR7 Shadow Demon to fight alongside the wearer for 2 minutes. Only one such demon can be present on the battlefield. The demon is already summoned. Casting a new spell of level 6 or higher will heal it for 2 to 6 hit points. Yeah, it doesn't have a limit per day though, so once it's gone you can just cast another level 6 spell and bring it back. I really haven't used this yet. I spent a lot of money on this. I need to start using that. I think this might be better. I know, we'll see. I'll mull it over off camera. Let's take a look around this area real fast.
I'll go ahead.
And then we'll call it an episode. And what we'll do is we'll teleport back to Dresden. In the next episode we'll speak to Woljif, and then we'll grab Arushale and head back south towards their green gates once again. Hopefully make it there this time. And just keep on keeping on. As one does. Alright, I'm going to call it here. The next episode, we will speak to Woljif. Gonna send this army up this way. Oh, I should have not done that yet. So we can recruit more people for the army. Not a ton. But better than none. Alright, yeah, so that's the plan for next time. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.